Sabaidi Nad Pinong, my family. I was just thinking, making this hot cup of brewed coffee, I was just thinking about how like people of different religions can feel so divorced from each other. You know, maybe I was thinking about people that drink beer too much, you know, like, okay, I was thinking Bach, I think they had beer in that time. And I think Bach even might have, you know, hung out sometimes in places where people were drinking beer, and he would drink beer. And then I was thinking about how in modern day, there's like maybe too much beer drinking in Austria. And then I was thinking, when I used to live in Oregon, I knew these people that would just like, kind of like always be drinking beer. And so I was thinking how I would feel if I always drank beer and didn't, like, I have nothing against beer, but if I like literally woke up and just wanted to drink beer, it would be because I was, you know, running from something. And then I was thinking as I was brewing this coffee, maybe I think too much. I was thinking about like how their hands shake, you know, those people that drink beer like constantly. And I was thinking, man, you know, how would I feel if I was drinking that much beer? It would be like I was trying to escape reality. You know what I mean? Like, give me that beer just to put that wall up, just to get the reality back, which would mean in turn that I'd have this tremendous fear of, you know, and this is what I was just thinking in the kitchen. I was thinking the fear of the Jews, fear of dark-skinned people, fear of all these people. And then, and maybe also having nerve damage in my body, and then all this fear. And so like, okay, now the antidote, so long as you don't have that much beer in your blood system, the antidote would be some idea that we're all one family. And that it would be more like you chose Catholic and your brother chose to be a Buddhist or something like that. It's one family. There's choices in your sort of spiritual practice or lack of spiritual practice. And whatever spiritual practice really means, unclear, of course. And let's see. So what I wanted to say was like, out of all of that fear and you could call it addiction, whatever it is, it's more just like we're all addicted to life and to breathing. So it's not, I don't know what addiction really means, but something like fixation, you know, on that beer. Yeah, the antidote is something like feeling like we're all one family. And then you don't need to just be so scared of all the other people in your family. And more seek to understand each other, never be a bully, right? If you can't be okay, here's how I go, Dalai Lama, right? Try to be good to your brother and your sister in your nuclear family, in your community. Try to be good. If you can't be good, be neutral, right? How he says that. And if you can't be neutral, no, stop there, because you never want to be a bully. Okay. And that's the main point that I should really say, is that fear from there becomes the war. You attack when you're afraid. Russia attacked Ukraine. China attacked Tibet. USA attacked Native American. German attacked Jewish. So they attack when they're scared, just like a dog, you know? And you, well, makes sense. That's our family. We evolved from dogs. I know you all evolutionary biologists saying, no, Tom, we didn't evolve from dogs. Actually, they're our cousins. Isn't that true? Because we evolved from small mammals that then became the dogs and became the chimps and the humans and whatnot. The hominids. Yes, my friend, it's time for toe cutters. And it's toe cutter number 2, which is 912, D major. Oh my God. There, you think that I'm finally done talking, but I got to say something, which is that this is a beautiful piece. And the weird thing about these beautiful pieces is that whenever it's already recorded and I listen to it, I think, oh my God, that was that beautiful Bach piece. That was the one you should have really remembered, never forgotten, always played. That's the one. But the weird thing, every single piece feels that way. After, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, that was the one. That's that amazing piece that just goes beyond imagination. But so what I'd like to try to do is bring that future premonition into, or that, what do you say, future retrospective kind of perspective into the present mind now, to say, hey, this is that piece. So let's really try to enjoy this piece of music, because this is one of those pieces. And I'll know about it later when I hear it. I'm sure D major, come on. Like I say, every piece is like this, so it's kind of silly to say this, but yeah, D major, come on. And you know this piece is just massive with its emotional layout. So put down the microphone, step back, do not distort the mic. It will be too loud. We already know that. You know, the sad thing is I have a really good preamp, like an ambient, what is it called, ambient preamp, for powered mics and stuff. I should just unpack that until I actually move and set up a couple mics, you know. It has been done before. One. Let's just go back. That's so beautiful. Let's just go back that replay the last two measures there. last couple measures. Let's play those again. So how's it supposed to go? How does that fit in? It's interesting just to see how that would sound if you played it smoothly, because we're going to E minor. Strange. Let's try that one more time. I'll play it softly so we can leave the mic up here. So what is the deal with that? It's like, so we're playing in this, a D major, right? So, oh, F, G major. So last chord, G major, then G sharp, now E minor. I guess it could work. Okay. You know why I mess up the ending so much? It's because, honestly, probably partially because I like to play exactly what Bach wrote. You know what I mean? And I think normally people just kind of improvise at the end. But if you look carefully, the ends are very complex, okay, rhythmically, polyphonically. So it's like where the notes line up is usually incredibly complex if you really want to hold down exactly all the notes that are being held and play all the notes that are being played. So it's like 1, E, and I'm not saying it's the only way to do it. It's fine to improvise music. I'm just this guy that just loves, in a certain way, like really sort of respects, let's say, Bach, what he wrote, okay? Something like that. Okay, so it's like 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E. That's what I missed. And 4, E, and 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, 4, end. I assume that's the end of the piece. Yeah. That would have been weird, right? And then comes the fugue. No. But that's interesting. Let's try it one more time. So we were in this like... Actually, that could be more like a B minor. It's a first inversion of G major. So there's G major, and then it's that with the B in the root they call first inversion. Let's hear that one more time. So that's D major. Then you get a little flavor of B minor coming in, right? Because that's what really happens when you invert chords. When you really take G major and then you invert it and you hit that major seventh, it gives you the flavor of the B minor right there. That's what really happens. So from that B minor, we hit the G sharp into the, let's think of, okay, I get it now. Let's think of it as like that, when the kings are coming and stuff, and those old films with like Cleopatra saying, with the French horns, Let's try to think about that. But that's as good as any pop song, right? As far as being locked up. If you really can play it right, it locks up like a pop song. That's the other nice thing about playing this stuff really carefully. Actually, as we together are discovering, by playing it with a certain pop sensibility, there is a real beautiful locked up kind of rhythm section, style feeling here. So 1 E and 2. See, if I could really play it, like without having to worry about it, just like flow it out and just express in a very spontaneous way, then I would be playing more like. You know, that's getting, say, 40% of the way there. So, good thing. Well, if we live so long, right? Okay, so the next one, that was 12, right? So we don't have to dedicate this to the violence of humans that we did with 9/11. So we'll do this to 9/12. I don't know what, dedicated to the happiness of all sentient beings, the causes of their happiness, the absence of their suffering, and the causes of the absence of their suffering, that they may not have too much attachment nor aversion. That was dedicated to that, 9/12. So 9/13 is what? It's this one here in D minor. So it's on page 2. It's the first one in the book. There it is right there. D minor. So let's just get a little preview of it. Somewhere here in this part looks interesting here. So, oh God. Okay. Oh, what? I gotta remember I'm in a different key now. Okay. So this is D minor, aka F major, 1 flat. So. That's right. And now. A major. So we're way out of that key of the piece, but. Oh, you know what that sounds like? What do you tell me what that sounds like to you? You know that da da da? It's that piece he wrote, dude, for his brother when his brother died. You know that one? It's in here somewhere. It's that piece. He had a brother, Bach, Johannes Sebastian, maybe older brother, and he was not a musician, and he was in some war, as I recall. I vaguely remember reading something about this, and he went off. Maybe it wasn't a war. Maybe he was a merchant marine. He went off to do this trade or this war thing, and he did not come back. You know, that happens, right? I'm sure maybe nobody is a stranger to death, right? So then he wrote this piece of music. I'm like, when we play that, we're going to cry, you know. But is it called Capriccioso or something like that? And it's just like, I think he wrote it like, it's dedicated to my brother. Do you know what I'm talking about? And it sounds like that with that da da da. That's how he's expressing the remorse. Let's hear it again in here. So this was that. Yeah, like just like that, right? All right. Like that. That's it. And then that just reminds me of other music as well. I'm sure it reminds you all of many other pieces. I wish you could all comment as to what pieces it reminds you of. This looks interesting here. What is this part of the same piece, right? Ooh, distortion, sorry. Sorry, I forgot the mic is with me here. So, ooh. Oh, do it to me, baby. Gosh, that's good, right? I'm playing too loud with the microphone here. I'm going to unpack that ambient, whatever it's called, really good preamp, and we won't have this problem. Here we go. Da, da, da. Not what I expected. Oh! Sorry. I'm trying not to overdo the enthusiasm. Tom, keep it to yourself. Just play the music. Is that right? Trying to keep it to myself. It's hard. So that's why it's like, it's nice. This is the best time to play it when it's like, when I don't know it. So the performer doesn't know it. That's so much better, right? I mean, for me, as a listener to myself, or listener to others, I like to hear it so it's just fresh. I don't know. This is I'm a fresh beast. What was that? Okay. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Please make your own channel. I'd love to see it. Please link it in the comments with your reading Bach. Come on, baby. Step up to the plate, my bro. You can bat fourth. And just, oh, you like baseball? Well, I'll tell you what, whatever sport you like or don't like, please record a video sight reading this Bach, but please don't practice it because that will be unfair and kind of ruin the vibe. So just jump in there and pull up a piece, My God, dude, there's so many great pieces. There's this one channel, okay? I think it's called Bach Scholar, right? Really nice guy. And he publishes a book to help you learn to sight read music that I think is basically Bach chorales. Right, it's Bach chorales. And then he takes out some of the parts. So you're starting with just one note, then two notes, then gradually three, and then they got those 4 notes, pretty much. Those Bach chorales. Maybe it's all 4 notes. 4 voices. And what I wanted to say is that he's a nice guy, and he had this idea that he could learn to sight read music by just reading through Scott Joplin or something like that. Something like those rags, And yes, those have big jumps and stuff, which I can't do. But apparently he learned how to do that without looking by just reading, right? So this is the same subject as you hear on this channel, right? So it's learning to read, don't look at your hands, read something you haven't read before. What else? Then the tonal analysis, the intervals between 2 hands, the intervals between 2 fingers in 1 hand, patterns. I have a video on this channel about kind of those different components of sight reading. But what I wanted to say is that, he has a channel like this where he suggested to either, kind of read through Scott Joplin, but he also suggests to read through the chorales. So if you want to do that, you can buy his book, but you can just buy chorales also. The Bach chorales, they're really weird, if you don't mind it being super weird. What's weird about the chorales is it's not in this Bach keyboard section. It's before the first invention, which doesn't mean it's before it in time. I have no idea how it really works out chronologically, but in terms of the BWV numbers, it's before this, the chorales. And those chorales are these four-voice things that are just more like for church, for Christian church. And they're just strange. I mean, it's much stranger than this music. It's just like the chords are just like kind of wacko. But, if you're in that mood, it's very uplifting in a sense, so long as you can kind of let go of any kind of logic and just wait for that major chord to come and be like, oh my God, there's Jesus Christ or something like that. Okay, Sabaidi, my family, I wish you all good health and a wonderful evening.